which team, if they are left empty in the Kawhi sweepstakes, which plan B is the worst case? Which team would have the biggest problem with a plan B in this?
Toronto. I mean, other than the fact that they're holding the trophy, I mean, it's going to be disappointing. I sort of compare it to, the Cavs in 2016. The Warriors land Kevin Durant 3 weeks after they won the title, and it was a real bummer for them and kind of signaled their end of chance to be a champion again, but they were still holding it, So the Raptors have no functional way to replace him. They would fall out of championship contention. They might even start a rebuild because half their team is on the last year of its contract, and they have some good young players. I'm not saying they would start it immediately, but I think that they would consider starting it. They would be the biggest losers, other than the fact they have the trophy. So no one feels bad for them, and they shouldn't feel bad for themselves.
Sure.
But when you look at it from I spent about an hour yesterday with Patrick Beverley, who just signed a 3-year, $40 million deal to stay with the Clippers. And he was talking to me about his meeting with the Clippers when they made their free agent presentation to him. And he got offered more money to go elsewhere. He got offered $50 million to go play for the Kings, which is $10 million to a guy who hasn't made $100 million in his career. It's not nothing. And he was talking about how excited he is about the Clippers' plans and their options and the renovations that they're doing at their facility and the new arena that Steve Ballmer wants to build. Now, granted, he's on the Clippers team. I'm not expecting him to be critical.
Sure.
But, I mean, the Clippers have a very strong pitch. Now, the Lakers' pitch is, we are the Lakers, and if you join us, we can have one of the strongest triumvirates in the history of the game. I'm not debating that. I mean, it is incredibly compelling. And Kawhi grew up in Southern California when the Lakers were winning championships. He probably went to Staples Center and was in awe of the place, as I was the first time I walked in there in the early 2000s and watched a Shaq Kobe game. I still get goosebumps thinking about it. If he chooses the Lakers, I would understand. I wouldn't take any explanation from me whatsoever. I get it. But the Clippers have a very, very, very compelling situation. And I know that it's very hard to believe that unless you've been really following the NBA over the last few years. But just about everything the Clippers done for the last 2 years has been pitch perfect. They've made great, smart, intelligent move after the other. They just made a terrific trade this week, and I'll bet the average NBA fan would have no idea what it is. They traded for Mo Harkless, who's a quality defensive player, and got a first-round draft pick just for taking him on. That's not exciting, but it's a really smart move. They've got their entire roster is made up of guys on great contracts. They have 3 extra first-round draft picks. They have 2 players who were all rookies this year that were on their team. They have the richest owner in American sports. They have a coach who everybody wants to play for. They have Jerry West in there. There's a lot. They play in Los Angeles. There's a lot going for them. In a vacuum, if Kawhi was picking the best organization, I think the Clippers would have a really compelling case.
Brian, I am so lockstep with you on that, because I would kind of need, however, an explanation. Not that I would receive it or demand it, but I'd like to know why Kawhi would, after what he just did in Toronto, and understanding what came his way, if he does care at all about the accolades, of going to a spot and making it his own and putting his stamp on a spot that needed a stamp in the most desperate way, that he would then go ahead and join a spot with 2 remarkable players and talents and personality, and obviously LeBron. Why he would go ahead and do that and be part of a triumvirate as opposed to his own thing. It would be the same thing for the Clippers in Toronto without the Canada part. It's the same thing. They're desperate for him. They're desperate for their own identity. They're desperate for the greatest player in the history of their franchise. And they would roll it out. I mean, and that's on top of everything you just said. I'm so lockstep with you as for the Clippers, period.
Because America loves the Kennedys, And the kid who has the perfect SAT score, the extracurriculars, and the great essay sometimes doesn't get into Harvard when the legacy kid does. Because that's what it is. The Lakers are the legacy. And that's America. And, you know, the Clippers have done everything you possibly can right, but they're still the Clippers. And they always will be. Now we just saw the Nets out.
That's what I'm about to say.
Okay?
That 50-year script with the Nets joining the world in the middle of the 70s in the New York area, that just finally that script just got flipped after a half century, Brian. Period. Another period.
Well,
there.
I don't want to make this like too like think PC, okay? Like something you would read in the New Yorker, but Kawhi holds the super team era in his hand right now. If Kawhi goes to the Clippers, the super team era is dead. We would have no super teams. Even the Nets, I know that everyone's excited about them. They're not the same team that the Warriors were, or that the Heat were before them, or that even the Celtics were, or even that the Cavs were, which had 3 All-Stars at one time. They would not be that team. The Lakers and the Thunder, you know, are. You look the Thunder. They have 2 All-NBA players. The Lakers would have 2 All-NBA players. You know, a bunch of teams. You know, the Spurs have 2 All-Stars, DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge. It would be a way bigger feeling of parity in the league. Now, the Lakers are still going to be a compelling team. The Nets would still be compelling, but the super team era would essentially have been killed. Meanwhile, if Kawhi picks the Lakers, we may have the greatest super team we've ever seen. So he's holding it. I mean, I'm not saying he gives a crap about that responsibility, but as you're looking at the lay of the land, he's holding it. We've just seen Durant and Kawhi flip the Knicks-Nets thing on its head. If Kawhi, one of the most impactful free agents in the history of the game, I mean, right up there with LeBron and Durant, this is like he's probably, 1C to those two. He picks the Clippers over the Lakers when the Lakers have a great team and an open roster spot sitting right there with the league wide open. I mean, the team that Kawhi picks is going to be the favorite to win the title. I'm not saying they will, but they're going to be the favorite. That's an incredible moment. He is making extraordinary wide-ranging decisions, wide-ranging implications, not only on this season, but on this era.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download The Rich Eisen Show app.